G'day everyone. A few weeks back, I asked you for your user questions about Lego education and robotics education in general. Well, this week I caught up with Mr. Hino from Mr. Hino's Lego Robotics, and we talked through everything. We talked through EV3, Mindstorms, our thoughts about Spike Prime and Spike Essential, and also third-party support as well. So we really went through as many of the questions as we could. This is part one of our conversation. Part two will be posted up on Mr. Hino's channel, so definitely check out his channel in the links below. Yeah, hope you enjoy our conversation. I'll see you around. Great to see you again, Mr. Hino. So yeah, tell me what do you do over there in the States? Do you run your own education center, or are you part of a school or community?
At the moment, I am teaching second grade at an elementary school. And we do robotics every Friday afternoon. So I wrote a grant basically saying, hey, I got 21 kids. I'd like 12 Spike Prime kits. So I had enough kits for, one kit for two students, and the district paid. And I said, yeah, we'll do our best. And they've been rocking it.
And you, because I've been following you for a long time, Mr. Hina. I've been watching your videos when I was still learning about this FLL kind of landscape. So, you brought out these amazing videos a few years back on like how to solve all the missions in FLL using like the basic robot in EV3, and that's how I sort of got to know you. Are you still using EV3 in your classrooms now?
No. When I left California, I left all the EV3s to the teacher that took over for my class. So I don't know if you saw the video that I posted a couple of months ago. Somebody donated an EV3 kit to me, and I said, "How much? I'll pay for it." And he's like, "Nope, I'm going to send it to you free of charge." I don't know what the story was as far as why he didn't need it anymore, but yep, sent me. I mean, there's some parts and pieces I still need to get from the kit, but yeah, he sent me everything that I needed to get started. So I'm like, man, what do you want? And he's like, just pay it forward. Just keep busting out EV3 videos. And so I'm like, yeah, I really love the EV3. So I'm gonna keep, messing with it. Like I said, there's some pieces I still need, so I can't build everything that I want with it, but I was blown away. I'm like, man, he could sell that for quite a bit of money there.
Yeah,
So
EV3 since they got discontinued, selling for about 1,500 Australian. So that's about $1,000 US, like
mhm.
per kit now. Just shows how great that kit was, wasn't it? You know, it went for like 8 years or even more of a life, and
Mhm.
massive community. I know another YouTuber, um not sure if you know heard of Builder Dude. He's like
Uh-huh.
a really big FLL EV3 enthusiast, and he graduated from MIT not long ago, and he started off with EV3, and yeah, great
Yep.
system.
Yep. I've been watching Builder Dude, and some things are way above, I'm like, nope, I'll watch something else. But I loved all his other ones on um shoot, I forgot the name of that bot he built, but it was definitely something that caught my eye. It was an FLL robot, and I'm like, yeah, that's a cool one. And
Sirius,
so
I think Sirius or Polaris. I think
yeah, the Sirius, yep,
Sirius. Yeah,
I
really
like that
cool.
robot a lot. So what about you, Gary? So you founded the Creator Academy. So what's the story with that as far as who are you serving, what age level?
Yeah, so I was a game developer for about 12 years before I sort of moved on to education. I think I started Creator Academy just sort of in my garage, and my daughters would bring their friends after school to like play with my Lego and build some robots. And then eventually we started sort of running it at my local church. And now it's my full-time thing. I've been just teaching kids about robotics and trying to share the love of programming. That's sort of
Wow.
how we roll. Yeah. So now I've got two education centers in Sydney. Um, and that's sort of my main job now.
Wow. Congrats. That's a big deal, to go full time on something like that. I mean, when I used to teach full time robotics, that's kind of where I was living. I mean, I wasn't, I guess you could say I was calling the shots. I mean, anything that happened in the class, I was basically, you know, nobody was telling me, hey, you have to do this and you have to do that. But to be able to just be the boss and say, hey, we're growing this as a business, man, that's amazing. That took a lot of guts to, shut down the, you know, how do you say it? The predictable income, like, you're going to get this all the time, to something where you're, like you said, it's unpredictable. And that's the part that amazes me is, just getting to that point of saying, hey, we are going to go all in, and, uh, just be able to say, um, we hope this works, and to go through that and to be successful. That is really cool.
So are you
Congratulations.
thank you so much. The first question I had from my network was that Lego Robotics is not cheap, considering the unstable software releases on Spike Prime and lack of support. Is it not wiser for educators to switch to cheaper or and more versatile platforms like Microbit and Arduino? What do you think about that?
That was a good question. And Gary, I think you might agree. It kind of depends on where the person wants to head and how compartmentalized they want to be. Because I've looked into some of those kits, and they're not like the EV3 where you can do so much with one kit. You're having to kind of piece together kits. So, I think that would be up to the teacher, whatever they're going to use that for. I think they would have to just know their direction. I think what's nice about the EV3 was you could go in so many different directions. And especially, as much as you and I love FLL, if they go with another kit, then that kind of stops their FLL track right there, So, but they're right. Those kits are so expensive. And like a lot of people right now, it's like we spent all this money, and we feel like we're left, holding the bag, like we don't know where to go with this. So, um, I thought about that. I thought, what if I was brand new to robotics and I had nothing and I was given a boatload of money? What would I do? And I thought, that was a really tough question. I definitely, lost the EV3 option. So I think I would probably follow this did with my classes. I just bought a bunch of Spike Prime, but I wouldn't buy a ton of Spike Prime. I would just get enough of what I needed, and I might set aside some money to maybe supplement that with some other kits. But I don't know. It would be really hard for me to go away from Lego, just because I'm so familiar with it, and also just because I love FLL, and I wouldn't want to paint myself in a corner and go, oh, okay, I got these great kits, but nah, I can't do FLL anymore, unless I set aside a few kits just for an FLL team. Um, but it's really hard to set yourself aside. Oh, okay, you kids will do this, you kids will do something different. Um, for me, I'd rather stick with Spike Prime and wait out the game and see if something else comes down the road. But that would be just me. I'm sure a lot of people could thrive and flourish with, the Arduino or the Vex or something else in that ball game.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think, and also having a look at some of those alternatives that are out there. I think robotics is not cheap, like no matter what system you
Mhm.
try to go for. And like you said, the familiarity with Lego really sets it apart from other systems. Like when kids learn Microbit or Arduino or Vex or anything like that, they have to learn a whole new hardware system, whereas Lego is something that they've grown up with, and
Mhm.
they're able to work with quite easily. So, and yeah, I agree that, being able to participate in First Lego League is a huge draw, because of the friendships that you make, of that experience um, of going into competition with Lego. I don't think that's easily replaceable. But I do get the point where they feel like that the software was unstable. But I think, all new software is unstable, and it's something that is improving with like the new Spike version 3 software. Um, Even though they are phasing out sort of Mindstorm's Robot Inventor, it looks like they are still sort of making some interesting progress with Spike, and hopefully this user can sort of see some of these improvements in the future.
Yep. Yeah, and it's it's really hard to be in the spot where a lot of folks like the teacher that took over for me. I was just talking to him a few weeks ago, and I said, "Hey, how things going? What's going on with you and the Mindstorms thing?" And he kind of just was like, "Well, we had these old laptops that still have the old EV3 software on it." And he's like, "We're not really going anywhere, as far as we don't have to worry about, programming or software not being on there. We've had those same laptops, I kid you not, since 2015. The tech people at my school, they wanted to just dump all these laptops, like throw them away. And I'm like, no, I want to keep them because the kids can still program, and as long as we don't get any new hardware, they can use those old EV3 programming, until the EV3 parts just start to wear out, the motors break or whatever. And so right now he's not feeling any kind of fear. He's just like, I'm going to run these things until they can't run anymore, which, to be honest, they've been going pretty good. The EV3 has been so reliable. I mean, some of the motors are starting to, they eventually will die out, but um, I really like how reliable and stable the EV3 was. Yeah, it'll always be in my heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. The next question I got was that it says that I understand Mindstorm's app will be supported until 2024, but how can I use the product after that? I think we sort of went through this ourselves with EV3, didn't we, Mitch?
I think so too. Um, I guess it would just be like what we just talked about, is how long are they going to keep the hardware that they have? Um, I have had students in the past where we've updated computers and they're like, oh, this is no longer accessible. And what do we do with this certain software is not there? And so we continue to just, we hoard everything and we don't throw anything away. So we're just, you know, um, maybe not as in a spot like some other folks where they have new iPads, they might have new Chromebooks where they don't have the older versions of things. So I can see that being an issue, and I would say, um, I don't know, that's a tough spot to be in where you're constantly updating your hardware, and now the apps or software is just not available to them.
Yeah, I agree. I think um it really depends on how often you replace your hardware. Um, if if we are like talking about schools that don't normally um, exchange their hardware that often, I think it's safe to say that it would last as long as your hardware, your Mindstorms kit lasts. It's going to give it quite a bit of life. I think when the EV3 was discontinued, we still used EV3 curricula, like the LabVIEW software for, like, we still use it now. Like it's something that we haven't removed from our computers. Like as long as you don't like consciously remove the app from your computers, like it's still going to work, and your investment's still there. It's still going to work, and
Mhm.
like nothing's going to like force you to change unless you know you actually like remove the app. So I think it's going to be similar with Mindstorm's Robot Inventor. Some schools use iPads, which might force you to update sometimes, but
Mhm.
as long as you're using um, the same laptops or the same devices you are using to connect to the machine, I think you'll still be able to use it well beyond 2024, at least until
Yeah.
the hubs and the motors explode. They won't explode. They'll just wear out. They'll just wear out. I've never had Lego
Well, you
explode.
know, what's funny about that, Gary, is I kid you not, I get 2 emails at least a week from people who want the Elephant program. Do you remember the Elephant, the expansion
No.
project for
Oh, the
EV3?
elephant. Yes, yes, yes. The elephant. The elephant
I
program. Yeah.
checked my email and it's, Mr. Do you have the Elephant program? Do you have the Elephant program? And my first response is, what software are you running? Because it's from the old EV3 software. And so there's people out there that still have it because they're like, hey, Mr. It worked. Thank you. And then, some other people like, we have the new one and this is obsolete for us. But there are people that still have the old EV3 software and they're like, thank you, you still have it. And I'm like, yeah, because, we never got rid of any of our software. So I still have that program still. And I've
Yeah.
heard from somebody that they have an updated version of that. And I just haven't been able to find it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that on the Lego Education website you can download the lab software um, specifically so that you can get those, like the Elephant software and all those old classic kind of model software as well. But it's a little bit hard to navigate to. Maybe I'll put it into the description in the video for this, and we can
Gotcha.
drive people to those links. So I got a question here saying that they would like some help to integrate Raspberry Pi with Spike now that Mindstorms is discontinued. Now, I'm not sure if you've been able to play with Raspberry Pi, Mr. Hino, but we did a little bit of experimenting with Raspberry Pi using the build hat on our channel. Um, and I think
Mhm.
the short answer is that so far it's only available on Mindstorm's Robot Inventor. We can't put it on the Spike app. I'm not sure how long that's going to be the case, but I think maybe especially when there's enough voices about it, Lego will eventually sort of make it available for Spike Prime. But to me, it looks like that was a one-off kind of collaboration between Mindstorm's Robot Inventor and Raspberry Pi. What are your thoughts on that, Mitch?
Yeah, I read that question and I will be completely honest. We've never had the need to go to Raspberry Pi or Python just because we've always had just the standard programming available to us. And you already know we've had the same software forever. And so we've just never, I guess, had the time or the necessity to have to go to anything else. So honestly, I couldn't speak to that just because, you know, we've never not had the need for it. So on that one, I would say um, try to venture out and give that a shot. And like you said, if Lego makes that, compatible, then that would be awesome. If in fact, the current software is not either cooperating, or if they just want to give their students, I feel some teachers feel like that's something that can platform their students to other things. Hey, I would say go for that. But for my students, it was just getting them to, I don't know, I didn't really want to platform them, because honestly, I was teaching middle school and my students didn't necessarily, I didn't see them moving on to anything, that would platform them. So we didn't experiment a lot with different programming. My students did do Python in other programming classes like computer programming, but we just never felt the need for it. So I was like, when I saw those different options come up, I'm like, ooh, that does sound interesting, but not something we had the time to kind of test out or feel like that. So sorry for all of those that were wanting that question. I have no knowledge. Gary, you'd be the one for that question.
That's okay. I think you're right though. I think Lego is usually very responsive as well. So reach out to your Lego support contact. You can go into Lego website and post some questions to them. I know I've sent lots of emails to Lego about Python and Raspberry Pi from my side. But the more people that we get asking Lego for these things, the more attention they'll give us. So definitely reach out to those people. I'm going to get to my last question now. Here, are we halfway through the Spike Prime era, or do you think we have 5 good years before a new release, Mr. Hina?
Okay, Gary, that's a great question. And what's funny about that question is that's something we never really thought about when the EV3 came through. We didn't think, hey, how long is this thing going to last? And what do we do once it runs its course? And now we're on the other side looking back going, oh yeah, maybe we do have to start thinking about that for Spike. I would say, as far as Spike goes, that's the only thing they got now. So, um, it's, I guess you can consider us halfway through if you're looking at the lifespan of EV3. Um, I would say at this point, I don't know. When I was teaching middle school, I guess it varied by student, but I had some students look at the Spike and I could just tell they weren't as interested as they were with the EV3. The EV3 just had some qualities and parts to it that just kind of it just got into the middle school mind. And right now my elementary school students are totally gravitating toward the Spike Prime, where when I had my middle school students, I had both kits and it was almost like a taste test. Which one tastes better to you? And a lot of them just still gravitated toward the EV3. They said, hey, miss, that EV3 kind of looks cool, but it's kind of hard to tell whether they were doing that because of the familiarity with the EV3. Obviously with the Spike Prime, it just kind of has, I don't know, Gary, if you would agree, it almost has that elementary kind of feel to it with the colors. And, as soon as my students saw those minifigs, they were like, hey, wait a second. I think they kind of felt like it, pushed them back almost.
Yeah.
But it would depend on the level of the student. But then I had some students that really enjoyed it. They really loved building the cube solver. They loved doing certain projects with it. So I guess it would just vary by student. But I would say for right now, Spike Prime, I mean, I'm all in with Spike Prime. There's no other option for me unless I'm just messing around on the weekend, trying to build something with EV3. But I would say, keep your option open. And what's really cool, Gary, I don't know, I've gotten some emails from it's a Spike Prime adapter to use EV3 with it. I talked to, I believe his name is Robert. I'll have to go back and check the email, but he was saying he wants to help out teachers that have Spike Prime, but they have old EV3 parts. And
Mm,
they
mm.
created an adapter where you can take your old EV3 parts and use it with your Spike Prime hub. I said, "Oh, that's amazing. I want you to send me one if you ever, I mean, I'd pay for it." But he was like, "Yeah, I'll send you one so that we could test it out." But it had a little motherboard where you connect and so I'm like, that would be
Oh,
cool, and that
is,
would
is
save a
that Quick Easy? Quick Easy? The
yeah, quick, easy. Yep.
yes,
Mhm.
yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
So I'm like, that could be a game changer for a lot of people that have they don't want to throw away all that EV3 things and use it with their Spike Prime. And so there are some things that are trying to save, you know, the EV3 and then definitely use it with Spike Prime. Um, but we don't have a crystal ball on where Spike Prime will be 5 years from now and what might come on the horizon. So yeah, that's a tough one to predict. Um, so that one's a toughie. I'd say, I don't know. I would
Yeah.
say probably don't invest too much. Don't go out there spending tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe just start off small and save that money for what might come down the road.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you made a really good point there, Mr. Hino, about the how Spike was really marketed towards the younger kids. And I think because it's done that, a lot of the older kids who have done EV3 for like 8 or 9 years, they feel a bit neglected, right? And in a way, I think this question is sort of wishful as well, like hopeful in that there is something new coming down the line that might replace EV3 for real. And I don't know. I think that in my experience in the industry world, we wouldn't discontinue our only product in that category unless something new was on the horizon. So
Mhm.
my prediction is that maybe Mindstorms getting discontinued is actually laying the foundation for something new coming around. Whether or not it is using the same Mindstorms hub is to be seen, but I feel like that Lego is not so slow to react to not know what's going on, right? The Lego is very clued
Yeah.
into to their customers' satisfaction. So I think that something is going to definitely um to come and satisfy those customers that may have not been as happy with Spike. But yeah, we will see. Hopefully we might see like
Mhm.
an EV4 or a
That would be
something
cool.
really cool. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I would say to Lego, you better hurry up before these people start to look elsewhere and spend all their money and go, sorry, we already spent our money on something else that, we just didn't think you would come out with. Because
yeah,
yeah, by getting rid of the Mindstorms, you are now kind of leaving the middle school, early high school kids now with what do we do now? I mean, I don't know. I just don't see them gravitating toward the Spike Prime. And I got a feeling like a lot of my viewers, they might head on to Vex. They might head on to other things where, you know, you would just hate that where they would spend their money and then go, they did come out with an EV4 or something. We don't have any money left. So, that it's a waiting game and you just hope you're on the right end of waiting.